What's your prediction for the Area 51 raid? The army will be forced to set out an aid station with water and sunscreen, because, of course, no one brought nearly enough. Bunch of food trucks and $7 bottled water sellers show up, 150 people also show up, eat and leave. And then it happens every year, because it's so fun. A few years down the road it becomes a new alien/space themed music festival called The Hitchhiker's Guide to Music Festivals, and it'll all be so fun that aliens will start showing up, but no one will believe that they're aliens, because everyone's tripping already. A dozen people show up, stare awkwardly at one another in the middle of the desert without speaking for several minutes. They sit, hope more show up. One checks Pokemon Go. Eventually, they gain enough confidence to break the ice. They go back home and create some dope memes for the rest of us that were just playing along with the joke. If it actually happened, the military has a great opportunity to test new crowd dispersal technology and non-lethal weapons. Conspiracy theory: this whole event was set up by the military to test their new crowd dispersal technology and non-lethal weapons. They changed the address on Google the night before, so we all turn up at the wrong place. News talking heads: although a plan was made to storm Area 51 on social media, government officials were able to confirm the raid did not take place and Area 51 was not breached. Local blurbs around the country: insert name, S family is seeking answers after name disappeared after making plans to visit Area 51. Alternatively, they all get flashy thinged and don't remember being there. You know what would be funny? They just let them in. They walk around. They see a few hangars with some cool looking planes and helicopters. The employees show them the runways and tell them, "This is where we race cars after work. Loser has to buy beer." They give them a bus ride back to their cars. Tragedy struck today in Nevada, in the desert near the US military installation commonly referred to as Area 51. This morning, a large group of civilians rallied together with the common goal of breaching the base's perimeter in an effort to discover if the government was indeed hiding proof of extraterrestrials. Shortly after assembling, the large group consisting of thousands of people began to clutch their ears in what appeared to be pain, before simultaneously crapping their pants and being forced to retreat. The US military claims to have had no part in the mass defecation, nor to even have had prior information that the group was arriving that today to storm the base. Realistically, at most 50 to 80 people show up, and at least, and more likely, a dozen people show up. If it was all good and the perfect reality existed, a few 100,000 people along with gamer girl bath water injected super soldiers would raid the base and have a good life with aliens, teleporters, hoverboards, and Half-Life 3. 500,000 idiots show up to a secure military base. The head idiot says, "Follow me," and they all charge. The soldiers refuse to fire on them, so they overrun the base. Once inside, they find an ET locked up in a secure room. They free it. It runs back home and tells them of the horrors that the humans visited upon it, and an intergalactic war breaks out. Not really much. People will go there, but Area 51 personnel will use alien mind rays to make them think there are not enough people there, that it is to bit, that they can do it tomorrow, leave and pretend nothing happened. More people will show up to watch than will actually show up to participate. They'll probably realize it's a futile exercise before they even do it and abort. Otherwise it'll be a handful of people sort of jogging at the fence and looking around to see if anyone else is coming too. They'll get to the gate and it'll be a small group the guards can easily handle without violence. 8 to 12 people will show up at the meeting location. 2 of these people will be wearing Naruto t-shirts. 1 or 2 other people are seeking internet fame and will be driving Prius rentals. YouTubers Explore With Us and Adventures with Christine will be there not as a participant, but to cover the event for their channels. Every single person who shows up will be woefully underprepared for the desert, temperatures, and vast distances involved. The camo dudes will be on heightened alert, but won't feel the need to carry automatic weapons for a bunch of anime-loving conspiracy theorists. The Nye County Sheriff's Department will increase patrols. Any experimental aircraft testing will cease for the day to decrease the risk of inadvertent exposure to classified materials. This was probably a joke by somebody that may have real-world consequences. Aliens will disintegrate everyone and begin their global takeover early. This is when we find out all world leaders are actually aliens in disguise. But the invasion will be put down when Vladimir Putin, who killed the alien that tried to mimic him, rides in on a white flying unicorn, naked from the waist up, shooting the power of the sun at the invading aliens and burns them all to ashes. At most, a couple of dozen absolute idiots turn up, some with crappy signs or slogans on their shirts. If they even succeed in finding the right place, then armed guards will order them to disperse. One or two of them might be stupid enough to give the guards some attitude, at which point they will be detained/arrested. Everybody else will quickly back down and stand/sit awkwardly at a distance before giving up and leaving. Aliens will come out to save all of the people who want to rush the base. We will have everlasting peace in the universe and be shown space travel. Our technology will jump 1,000 years in just a few. About 150 to 200 people show up. The government shows up and welcomes them with open arms, but asks that they hand over their phones to maintain secrecy. Most of the group does, thinking this is a once in a lifetime chance, while the rest loses their numbers and thus their nerve. The ones who took the offer are driven down to the interstate and dropped off. The government has so much time to prepare that they will just move everything important out. They will likely stock it with random old planes and such, and say that it's actually been out of real service for a while. With the secrets hidden in other locations and nothing to find, they will probably send reinforcement to keep the place secure, just in case a real raid happens. If the people do choose to raid, they will likely be detained. The government probably doesn't want to actually kill Americans, so I'm sure they'll do their best to prevent a raid or non-lethally stop it. Worst case for them, people do somehow get in, find a bunch of old stuff, and new conspiracies come out about the cover-up at Area 51. Or, even more likely, by the time the event happens, September, most people will have forgotten about it. 50 people show up and are met by a couple hundred soldiers who escort them away or detain them. Won't happen, mostly because the people committing to do it probably forgot it involves going outside, in the desert, in the middle of summer. Also, they probably don't have a good address for their GPS, and there's no paved or covered parking. The best result from announcing an action like this is to get the military's attention and already have surveillance set up in the area to observe any transportation coming or going at the base, which might indicate the government had some stuff to move out of the base or hide, or that they took the idea of the public storming the base seriously enough to bring something in. An action like this probably needed the element of surprise to be effective. I predict maybe an announcement from the government that they are aware of the plan, and that they take the security of the base extremely seriously, that they plan to arrest any trespassers, and, if necessary, use measures of force to keep the situation secure. That should be enough to deter a substantial number of civil unrest cosplayers that don't really want any trouble and just thought it was a cool meme idea. A bunch of people get their names on a list, a handful get arrested at the no trespassing zone, and another handful stand back going, wow, that's crazy. It'll be a lot of headache for anyone working at the base or in any way connected, but ultimately it'll just be some dumb thing we won't remember this time next year. Bunch of edgelords try to get caught on purpose thinking that some security guard will cuff them and let them go shortly after, which would make for a great TikTok/YouTube social experiment, just a prank bro video. Color drains from their faces when they face federal charges. Nobody shows up besides a few fringe idiots who will be immediately arrested for trespassing, called idiots in the media, and the whole thing will be that weird time when some dudes got arrested within a couple months. Alternatively, they are going to find the Stargate and unlock our planet to the galaxy. Thank you for watching AskReddit. Please like, share and subscribe.